everybody. My name is Bazarbaeva, and I'm a teacher of NAS Astana Physics and Mathematics. And today we're going to talk about descriptive essay and exactly describing people. The aims of the lesson are to introduce descriptive essay and to make students practice describing people. Learning objectives are as follows. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to structure your descriptive essays, use tips provided in the presentation, and describe people. But first of all, we are starting with the brainstorming as usual. What is a descriptive essay? What's pressed to your mind when you hear such a notion? You have 1 minute to think about this question. Okay, now here is the definition. The descriptive essay is a genre of essay that asks the student to describe something, object, it can be a person, a place, an experience, an emotion, situation, and etc. This genre encourages the student's ability to create a written account of a particular experience. What is more, this genre allows for a great deal of artistic freedom, the goal of which is to paint an image that is vivid and moving in the mind of the reader. Indeed, when you describe somebody in your essay or when you describe an event, you try to give as many colors as you possibly can. So that's why the artistic or creative knowledge is demonstrated here as well. Coming back to the question, what is a descriptive essay? We can say that it is an essay. It's a piece of writing that uses the senses of sight, smell, touch, hearing, and taste to provide the reader with a vivid picture or feeling about the subject. The essay gives details that will enable the reader to imagine or to picture, to capture the item described. Well, before we watch a video, I want to ask you pre-watching questions. Question number 1. What is a paragraph structure of a descriptive essay? Question number 2. What's an overall structure of the essay? Question number 3. What are 4 sentences you should use in your descriptive essay? And question number 4. What could you describe in your writing? So you have about 5 minutes to answer these questions. Now it's time to watch a video and try to find the answers for your questions.
In this tutorial, we're going to look at writing a descriptive paragraph or essay. Descriptive writing describes a person, a place, or a thing. How would you describe this scene? The structure of a descriptive paragraph or essay is the same as in a narrative paragraph or essay. In a paragraph, you're going to have a topic sentence, several supporting details, and a conclusion. Each one of these bullet points is going to be 1 to 3 sentences. In an essay, you're going to have an introduction that includes a thesis statement. You're going to have at least 3 paragraphs of supporting details, and you're going to have a concluding paragraph. Each one of these bullet points equals 1 paragraph. In a descriptive essay, we show, we don't tell. We want to try to show the reader, not tell them about something or someone. We use specific details that paint a picture in the reader's mind. Consider this. You are a car salesman. A customer comes in and says, "I want to buy a car." What would you say to the customer? You would probably ask him, what kind of car do you want to buy? Does he want to buy a sports car or a truck? He needs to be more specific about what kind of car he's shopping for. We add specific details by using sensory details. We use our senses to help us write description. Our senses include sight, smell, sound, and feeling. They also include taste, but sometimes, unless you're writing about a restaurant, it's hard to add taste into the description. Here's an example of using sensory details to write about the writing center. You might say, it's a well-lit and cheery room to write. The smell of coffee is stimulating me to write well. The look of excited faces as they write with confidence. And you can hear the sound of others typing papers on computers. So what you want to do is you want to walk into your scene that you're going to describe and close your eyes at first and use all your senses to get an idea of what to say about the scene. You need to have a dominant impression. You're describing one thing. That one thing is your main point. This becomes your topic or thesis statement. You might describe a room, a place, a person, or some other thing. Let's try, the island was a disaster after the hurricane. What's the dominant impression here? We know the topic is the island, but what are we saying about the island? We're saying that the island was a disaster after the hurricane. So the disaster is our dominant impression, and that's what we want to describe. So let's add some supporting details. Use your senses. Add specific details to support your topic or thesis statement. What do you do? See, hear, smell, feel, taste. The island was a disaster after the hurricane. You can smell dead fish. You see broken trees. You hear the sound of silence because there's no power and there's no cars moving on the road. You can taste warm water because there's no refrigeration, so the bottled water is going to be warm or even hot. You can feel the hot sun and the humidity in the air. During a hurricane, after a hurricane, it becomes very humid. We use spatial order to organize our ideas. Descriptive writing organizes the details by moving through space. Imagine you just stepped off a plane onto the disaster site of the island. What is the first thing you would notice? Would you smell the dead fish first? Or maybe the heat and humidity would hit you first. Or maybe you are stunned by how quiet it is with no cars moving and the power out. To finish up, once you've generated a lot of ideas using your senses, form all your ideas into complete sentences. Add some transitions to make your sentences or paragraphs flow together nicely. Check to make sure you've described everything you can think of. Check all your senses. Did you describe something using each sense? And as always, proofread, spell check, and have someone else read your paragraph or essay. Happy writing.
Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video and it was very helpful. Now I'm looking for the answers, that's why I will remind you about the questions. What is the paragraph structure of a descriptive essay? What's the overall structure of the essay and what are 4 sentences you should use in your descriptive essay? And what could you describe in your writing? Well, I hope that you found all the answers for these questions, and now we will talk about the paragraph structure. Each bullet point equals to 1 or 2 ranges from 1 to 3 sentences. For example, the first sentence is topic sentence, then you add 3 supporting details and a concluding sentence. What's an overall structure of an essay? Well, that was question number 2. Each bullet point equals 1 paragraph. Introduction, including a thesis statement, supporting details, maybe several, and the conclusion. What are 4 sentences you should use in your descriptive essay? What could you describe in your writing? Well, the 4 sentences that you mention, and even 5, not 4. So they are sight, smell, feeling, sound, and sometimes taste. What could you describe in your writing? You can describe different objects, but mostly they could be a room, a place, a person, or any other thing. Well, if you have a look at this slide, you can find some useful tips and exercises. Using the planning think sheet, it contains several steps. You have to identify your purpose and pre-writing and choosing the pre-writing technique. First of all, the purpose. You should answer the following questions. What is my purpose for writing in this essay? I would like to describe a place that holds a lot of memories for me. I think that writing about a special or important place in my life will help me to understand why it is important. It will also help me to remember this place in the future. Which pre-writing techniques will I use to generate ideas? Well, the pre-writing techniques are various, and you know some of them. For example, brainstorming, or free writing, or listing. You can also make clustering, looping, discussing, reading, charting, WH questions, free association, structured questions, imaginary dialogue, or audience shift. So these are the pre-writing techniques. They vary and each has its unique style. Pre-writing. What do I know about my topic? It's another point that shows the background, that you have to mention the background of your topic, of your theme. On another sheet of paper, use the pre-writing activities or techniques you marked above to generalize ideas about your topic. When you are finished, staple your paper to this think sheet. Brainstorm. What places, for instance, you use WH question. What places could I write about? Smolensky, Cathedral, Cape Perpetua, memorable apartments on my mission, my bedroom as a child, my house, my grandmother's house, as I remember it from childhood compared to now, the BYU library, my dream home, my ALC office, my husband's grandparents' house. So, if you brainstorm like questions starting with WH, you are specifying. If you are asking about places, then you are specifying the further details, and the list can be very, very long. Useful tips and exercises, and we will continue. After doing the brainstorming exercise, I decided that I wanted to write about one of the apartments where we lived on my mission. I chose the apartment at Площадь Мужества because I had been thinking a lot about the things that happened while I was living there. So this example is a very remarkable one. I wanted to think more about that time in my life, and I decided that writing an essay about the apartment could help me do that. Now that I had decided on a specific place to describe, I made a list of all the things that I could remember about that place. So have a look at the list. The apartment at Площадь Мужества. Small and cramped. Kitchen, bathroom, entryway and bedroom, living room only. Entryway, telephone, coats, boots, locked chest, and etc. Bathroom, rub, tub, shower, toilet, sink, Sister W's, beauty products, and other stuff. Kitchen, lightest place, window, table, big chair, refrigerator, and etc. Bedroom, living room, couches for beds, no mattress and stuff filling the room, ugly green wallpaper, dark woods. So you can also, after finishing that step with listing, you can add some sensory details. Once you have generated some ideas of your own descriptive essay, it is a good idea to think of sensory details that you can add to your description. When I looked at the list of things I created in step 3, I realized that I mostly wrote down things that I could see and situations I could remember happening in the apartment I was describing. I was very surprised to notice that I didn't write anything about sounds, smells, tastes, or feelings associated with the apartment. I think that most people, when asked to describe something, would focus mostly on things they can see. That's why step 4, adding sensory detail, is an important part of planning a descriptive essay. Here is the sensory details that I wrote down for step 4. So you have to mention the sensory details like sight, for example, entryway, telephone, code, something that you can actually see. Then the sound, traffic going by, ringing of the telephone, neighbors shouting, and so on. Touch, lumpy wallpaper, near my bed, freezing water in the shower, sunlight meaning through the kitchen window to warm my face. Smell, cookies and chocolate cake baking. Sister Anne's overpowering perfume, the Russia smell I was so used to I didn't notice by them. Okay, and the taste. We also have emotions. So taste, the kasha that was burnt, jam-filled croissants, spaghetti, orange juice, and other stuff. And the last one is emotion, intimidation and nervousness, mixed with relief when first moving to the area. You see, there are many sensory details that can be mentioned in your essay. Now, having finished these 4 steps, we will move on a description of people. So, in order to describe a people, you should tell me something about a person. What can you describe in him? You have a minute to think about this question. Okay. We tell the reader about the person's appearance first, and then we discuss his character. We can write about someone we know or knew in the past, or about someone famous. You have to remember to use past tenses if you are describing someone you used to know. If you still know the person, use present tenses. Start your description by saying who you are, describing and why you chose this person. Write something about what he or she looks like. This may only be 1 or 2 sentences. Write something about his or her character. If possible, give an example of something this person does show his or her character. Use the present simple for this. Finish by saying what you or other people think about this person, and use different adjectives and superlatives to make the description very, very interesting. Well, have a look at this picture. Who can you describe? A, B, C, or D? You have a minute to think about this. Okay, so who can be someone who you admire, a famous person, someone who had an impact on your life, an interesting person you met? So these questions are the essential ones and they help you to answer, and by answering you are already describing a person. What adjectives can we use to describe a person's character? You might ask yourself. Well, the adjectives can be different, starting with interesting, shy, talented, intelligent, approachable, humble, good, snob, screwed, energetic, easygoing, strict, and cunning. There are a range of adjectives that can help you to write a descriptive essay. Next, in your description, you might also include physical appearance, personality, character, attitudes, behavior, interests, hobbies, profession, your personal impression or opinion. The vocabulary. The following vocabulary can be very, very useful for you. Useful language, for example, appearance. The person can be tall or short. Slim, old, young, pretty, good looking, dark hair, and etc. Age, 10 years old, about 10. Clothes. He wore or she wore wears smart clothes or smart jeans. Character, kind, intelligent, shy, outgoing, honest, hardworking, lazy. Modifiers, very quiet, extremely challenging, and so on. Memories, I remember that. I still remember his hair. General, everyone loved him or loved her. I shall always remember and never forget. So here is the bigger list of the vocabulary on this question. So, questions, no questions. Well, write a description of one of your first teachers. Why do you remember him or her? So, we're trying the introduction first. And the introduction, as I remind you, will consist of 3 parts: topic sentence, explanation, and thesis statement. Well, have a look at this example. My first teacher was very tall and quite old. Perhaps I thought that because I was very short and quite young. I was 5 years old. My teacher's name was Miss Dunn and I adored her. Topic sentence details can be examples, appearances, and close descriptions. Concluding sentences. Details, body 1. I remember that Miss Dunn had long dark hair, a big tie, and a big smile. She was always kind to the children. Her voice was soft, and she never shouted. She was slim, like a model, and she wore long skirts and pretty blouses. We all thought she was like a queen. If we look at the first sentence, you can see that we're using memories to describe the first sentence. And appearance in the end of the sentence. Then we give an example, the instance, and we also are mentioning the clothes. It can be similar to the body 1 when you write body paragraph 2. For example, Miss Dunn was an extremely kind person and everyone loved her, but she was also a very good teacher. She taught us all how to read and write. Okay, next, the conclusion. I still remember the things she said, and I would really like to meet her now and say thank you for everything you taught me. Well, your task is to write a description of a famous celebrity who you would like to meet. Begin your essay. If I could meet anyone in the world, I would like to meet.
Hello. Okay. Hi, my name's John. Today I'm going to talk about, well, describing people. Okay, so I think we'll just go through it. I've got, seven words that we can use to describe people. All right, so let's go start with the top one. Soft-spoken. Soft-spoken. Like a person that speaks quite low, like quietly. Yeah, so soft-spoken person is someone who speaks softly, very like quiet. The opposite would be, of course, loud. But, so that's the opposite. So soft-spoken is someone who speaks quietly. Okay, the next one, self-conscious. Self-conscious. The opposite of self-conscious would be like uninhibited. Okay, so if you're like self-conscious, then you are concerned or worried about what people think of you. That's you're self-conscious. But if you're uninhibited, that means that it doesn't matter. You feel free to be as you are, feeling uninhibited. Okay, so that's the opposite. Well-behaved. So if someone acts appropriately, they're well-behaved. But if someone doesn't act as they should, they're, well, the English would say naughty. Or you could say he's badly behaved. Also, we could say like well educated. So if someone has a good education, so they're well educated. Okay, left or right-handed. Okay, so just to make sure that you know which one is your left and which one is your right. This is my left, and this is my right. Okay, this is my left, and this is my right. Well, myself, I'm right-handed. I'm right-handed. So I write with my right. I throw with my right. What else do I do with my right? That's about it. Yeah, so it's more common. It's more common to see people that are right-handed. Okay, someone who is he's middle-aged. So someone who is in their like I think late 30s, early 40s. I think they're considered middle-aged. Or the sort of opposites would be like very young or very old. But if you're in the middle, that's middle-aged. Also for money, if you're like middle class, so you have not too much money, but not too little money, so you're middle class. Easygoing. So, for example, I think that I'm pretty easygoing. That means that I'm pretty flexible, and if people want to do something, then I feel comfortable about doing it. I'm not so sort of stuck and controlling about what I do all the time. So I'm easygoing, like flexible. Good looking. Well, let's see, who's good looking? Who would be considered good looking? I'm not sure, but Well, another word for good looking is handsome. The opposite would be ugly. Okay. So here's just a few words that you can use. And what I would suggest that you do is that I want you to look at these words, think about them, and think about yourself and maybe other people that you know, and maybe think about them and use these words to describe maybe yourself or other people. So are you soft-spoken? Or are you loud? Are you self-conscious? Are you uninhibited? Is your little brother well-behaved, or is he naughty? Are you left-handed, or are you right-handed? Are you easygoing? Are you middle-aged, or are you very young? Are you good-looking, or are you ugly? Okay, so we're going to do a little game, okay? Okay, so here's the game. I'm going to describe something, and you have to match, okay? The word on the left, the part, like the adjective on the left, with the part on the right. Okay. So, you are left or right? Handed, that's right. Very good. Left-handed or right-handed. Okay, someone who is like, they're flexible, they're, they're not sort of stuck in their ways. They are easy going. That's right, easy going. All right. Let's see. Someone who is who speaks kind of softly. They are soft spoken. Okay, someone like, who could it be? Like handsome, so they are good looking. That's right, good looking. Someone who is acts appropriately in the situation. They are well behaved. Okay, someone who is like in their 40s, they are not too, they are middle aged. And someone who is, well, the opposite is uninhibited. You are, well, of course, it's the only one left, so it must be self-conscious. Okay, I hope you didn't cheat and wait for my answer. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you want some more fantastic lessons, go to www.ingvid.com.
Paragraph 1. The structure of this home assignment can be the following. So, paragraph 1. Say who you should like to meet, or who you would like to meet. Describe the celebrity's appearance. Begin the paragraph with the phrase, if I could meet anyone in the world, I would like to meet, and so on. Paragraph 2. Describe the celebrity's character. Paragraph 3. Say what you admire most about this celebrity and why. Paragraph 4. Say what you would do if you met this celebrity. Begin the paragraph with if I met. You have to include, of course, grammar and vocabulary and the content. In order to mind your grammar and vocabulary, you have to revise conditionals, comparisons, phrasal verbs and set phrases, linkers of addition, pay attention to the order, new adjectives, and the content. What are they famous for? What do they look like? What is their personality like? What do you admire most about them? And so on. Well, these are the resources used in my presentation. Thank you for your attention and goodbye.